Hello everybody, it's Pineapple here, back with another video. And so, a lot of you have been asking me to take a look at Rikka. And for the longest time, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. You know, Plant Link is my baby, it's my favorite deck. But, you know, I finally got around to it, and I gotta say, Rikka's pretty fun. It's not like Plant Link, where, you know, you use up your entire extra deck and everything's gone and you have no follow-up. It does have somewhat of a grind game. And it has a very, very interesting way of interacting with your opponent's monsters that a lot of other decks don't, and that is removing them for cost. Con is a custom card, and for that reason alone, this deck is worth playing. That said, let's hop into the card by card. First up, we're on the Sunavalon engine because it is a ridiculous plant engine that kickstarts all your plays no matter what. So we're of course playing triple Lokai. We then have one Snowdrop, the Rikka Fairy. If you're unfamiliar with this card, it's fantastic. You tribute a plant monster, special summon both this and another plant from your hand, and then you're plant locked. Spoiler alert, we only play plants. That doesn't mean anything. You can then target a plant monster you control, and then all plants on your field become the same level. In other words, you can target yourself, make her an 8, and then just overlay. We are on 2 copies of Mudan, the Rikka Fairy. You contribute a plant, special summon it from your hand, and when it's special by the effect of a plant monster, you can add a Rikka spell trap from your deck to your hand. Usually you're just going to grab Con, occasionally you'll grab Sheet. One Primulia, sorry I can't pronounce names, where if a monster is tributed, you can special it from your hand, and you can increase the levels by 2 of itself and one other plant monster you control. I've never had that come up because I'm not playing the rank 6. We're on 3 copies of Rikka Princess. This card is fantastic. It's unbelievable. During the main phase, just special it from your hand for free, and then you're plant locked while it's on the field. Again, we only play plants. We don't care. Additionally, if it's in your grave, you can tribute a Rikka. While you control a Rikka, you can tribute a plant, shuffle it into the deck to negate a monster effect that's activated. This card's unbelievable. It gives you a negate. It lets you tribute off your opponent's monsters for cost during their turn. Just an unbelievable card. 1 copy of Lone Fire, just an extra way to get to, of course, our boy Sunseed Genius Lokai. 3 copies of Ash as a basic hand trap. 1 copy of Twin for our sowing target. 3 copies of Petal. Petal's fantastic. During the main phase, you can take a Rikka from your deck, accept itself, add it to your hand, or send it to the grave, and then you're plant locked. Again, only play plants, do not care. And during your opponent's end phase while it's in your graveyard, and if you control no monsters or all monsters you control are plants, you can just special it back, which really, really, really helps your grind, just constantly adding advantage. We're on 1 copy of 1-for-1, again, anything for Lokai. 3 copies of Prosperity. It's not great in this deck because your extra deck space is pretty tight, but it does kind of function as just a, dig 3 cards deep, find what you need. Sometimes you can dig 6, but you're kind of giving up on your end board being as good as it possibly can be. We're on 3 copies of Rikka Glamour. This card's fantastic. When you activate it, you can also tribute a plant as a optional cost, which means that you can tribute your opponent's monsters as well if you have Con on the field. And then if you tribute if you tribute a plant, you get to add both a Rikka and a plant with the same level as the Rikka that you add to your hand. But if you don't, you just get to add a Rikka. It's Rhoda. It's like a custom card Rhoda. 2 copies of Sowing as our target for, of course, Dryas. Summon a Sunseed. If you don't control Dryas, it has to be Lokai. It's fantastic. We don't care about taking the 1,000 damage off of it because we aren't playing Laurel, which means you can activate it whenever you want just to grab out your guys. It also protects your plant links from destruction, which is great. 1 copy of Terraforming, again, anything for Con, Unexpected Die for Lokai, and 3 copies of Con. If you haven't read this card, it's Layer of Darkness for Rikka cards, which is just hilarious. Additionally, if you control a Rikka, you get to set a Rikka spell trap directly from your deck, which is fantastic. It can't be Ash, it gets you to Glamour, it gets you to Sheet. Just add interruptions, add whatever you want. 3 copies of Imperm, again, more generic interruption is good, and 1 copy of Sheet. It's like a weird Imperm that doesn't work quite how you'd like it to, but it does get the job done. It has you target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and you contribute a plant monster, and then players can't activate that face-up monster's effects on the side of the field for the turn, and if you tribute a plant, you get to take control of it. Since it says activate and everything's pretty much a trigger effect now, it's unfortunately not as good as you'd like it to, but you can just fucking snatch steal their shit and tribute off something they have, which is very, very useful. We then have 3 copies of Rivalry of Warlords. We only play plants, and Sheet Snatch Steal makes them into a plant. So, of course, we are playing Rivalry. We're on 3 copies of Sacred Tree Beast Hyperion. I can't pronounce his name. You make this with Centra. You do not hard make this. During your main phase, during your turn, sorry, when you activate a card or effect, you can target one card of the same type in the graveyard, monster, spell, trap, equip it, and then you can negate in response to an opponent's activated card effect one of whatever the attached materials are. Usually it's just a monster negate. It comes up. It's nice. 2 copies of Teardrop the Rikka Queen. I like 2. Again, Prosby target if you need to. Sometimes you want to make 2 in the grind. She's fantastic. Tribute off an opponent's monster just as an effect. It's great. 2 copies of Centra. Again, prosperity target, and we don't want to get ripped by Diablosis or a Unicorn. You can detach a card, target a plant or a Rikka card in your graveyard, add it back to your hand, and if it's tributed, you get to special summon a plant Xyz from your extra deck, and then you can attach this card if it had a material. 1 copy of Bengal Lancer as the payoff to our Sunavalon engine. 1 melee is to get to Bengal Lancer. 2 copies of Jasmine. Again, we don't want to get ripped by Diablosis. 1 copy of Sylvan Dancepini. If it's Link 7, you can choose a number 1 to 3. You're going to pick 3. Excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and then special summon up to 2 excavated plants, but they can't be used as Link material. Spoiler alert, you just want to be using them for Xyz material anyways. 2 copies of Healer, and 3 copies of Dryas. So with that, let's hop into the games. So for our first match, we are up against Eldritch, the worst trap deck. Labyrinth clears by a mile. We'll start with Prosby. We'll take the Con here because it's great. We'll normal Loci. We'll go for Dryas. We'll add Sowing. You know this play. We'll fire Sowing for Twin here, and subsequently trigger Twin as Chainlink 1 and Dryas as 2. We'll get back our lovely Dryas, or Loci, as well as trigger Healer. We'll link off for Jasmine. From here, we'll link off for another Dryas and a Healer in order to trigger our Jasmine in order to search for a copy of Princess. We'll use Jasmine to get into, of course, Petal. We'll use Petal to search. Again, we have a Petal in hand, but we just want to, incur advantage here. We'll fire Mood Con. Fire Con for Glamour, of course, and then, of course, immediately flip up this Glamour. We'll grab this copy of the Ever Lovely Tribute for Summon card. We'll make Bang here, Tribute off the Petal, grab out Mudan. From here, we'll grab Sheet and trigger Primulia. And then we're going to special summon everyone's favorite princess. We will then Xyz into Centra. We'll detach the princess, get back this copy of Glamour, and set 2 and pass back to our opponent. Unfortunately, we will be immediately met with a Lava Golem, which really sucks, but we do still get to trigger Centra, which is very funny. They will attempt to lord our copy of the Ever Lovely Teardrop, and we will negate the princess. They will set 1 and pass back to us, and unfortunately, because we have a non-plant on the board, we do not get to trigger princess. We'll get burned by our Golem, trigger this copy of everyone's favorite Con. We'll grab Glamour for another copy of princess. Normal out Petal. We'll attempt Petal effect and be immediately met with Skill Drain. It doesn't really matter though, as this is the end of the game and we can find lethal. We'll go for Dancepini and bring back Bengal Lancer, and then proceed to the battle phase. We'll get in for well over lethal. So our second match is up against Virtual World, and if you haven't noticed, we've drawn the absolute stones. We'll start with Prosperity. We'll find 2 Prosperities and a Petal off the top, but Petal is literally everything we need here. From here, we'll normal out Petal and immediately be met by Infirm. We'll fire Glamour in order to get ourselves Primulia and a copy of Princess. We'll trigger Primulia as well as Princess. From here, we will overlay and make Centra to get back this copy of Glamour. We'll fire off this copy of Snowdrop. Will trigger Centra in order to get out Beast, and then overlay for, of course, Teardrop. We'll just pass back to our opponent here, ending on not much, but it's definitely enough. From here, they'll fire Qinglong, as well as Kowloon. We'll ash the Kowloon so they don't have multiple targets. They'll fire, of course, Lao Lao. We will negate Lao Lao immediately, and then they will attempt Lulu, and we will immediately negate that as well. From here, they will simply set 1 and pass back to us, and we will immediately get rid of it in the end phase. From here, we'll bring back Petal, and this is the end of the game. And our opponent will concede. For our next match, I thought I'd show off everyone's favorite deck. It's a surprise. We'll start with Petal here, though. And trigger Petal. We'll go for Con here, and we'll grab ourselves, of course, a copy of Glamour. Immediately, we will fire Glamour for Mudan. And then, of course, we will trigger Mudan, and as well as Petal. We'll tribute off the Petal, grab, of course, a copy of Sheet, as well as summoning out Primulia. God, I can't say this name for crap. We'll summon out Centra, detach Princess, and grab back this copy of Glamour. We'll set Sheet and pass back to our opponent, and this is pretty much the end of the game. They'll start with Small World. It's Blackwing, everyone's favorite 5D's deck. They'll grab Sea Moon off this. We'll attempt Sea Moon, and we will immediately negate that. We'll tribute off Sentra, and then trigger, of course, Sentra. We'll grab out Teardrop. They will attempt to Shamal us, and that's completely fine. They will normal out this copy Shudri, and we will immediately fire Teardrop so that they don't have a Blackwing on board to continue summoning. They will summon out, of course, this copy of the Bestial Druid Worm for some reason, and in the end phase we will trigger Petal. Petal's great, and we will start with, of course, Petal. We'll grab Snowdrop to attempt to end the game here. We'll fire off Con to get another copy of Glamour because we want to keep going for advantage. From here we will link off for Dryas and trigger Sowing. We'll make a healer. We'll trigger healer. We'll make Jasmine. We'll Jasmine tribute away. We'll get to Lokai here. And we're just going to get Melius and subsequently everyone's favorite little guy, Bengal Lancer. We'll try to Sheet, but I didn't read Sheet at the time. Its on-field effects can't be activated, not it's just all of its stuff. So they will trigger Druis, but it doesn't really matter to us. They'll just concede anyways because they know that we have the ability to build back our entire board. For our fourth and final replay, I thought I'd just showcase the most base deck of all time that my opponent was playing, Skull Servants. We'll start with Sowing and we'll go into Dryas. We'll grab ourselves another copy of Sowing. And from here we'll just normal out the Twin to get back the Dryas. Lokai, sorry, I'm a little special here. We'll grab Princess here off this Glamour. We'll link for Jasmine. We'll Jasmine away for Petal. From here we will simply trigger the Petal in order to get ourselves a copy of Mudan. We will, of course, fire the Mudan. We will then trigger Mudan in order to get ourselves Con. Hooray! We'll fire Con and then set Sheet, but not before firing Princess. From here we'll grab Sheet, Eat, and then proceed to link off for Melius. We'll trigger Melius, and then make Bengal Lancer, set the Rivalry, and pass back to our opponent. We'll immediately shotgun Rivalry because I've been Kaiju'd in Lava Golem like 6 times today, and I'm not getting that ever again. They'll send a mill card from the Shizus, mill a whole bunch off of us, and then proceed to, pitch a bunch of guys. They'll normal a 5k King of the Skull Servants, and we will immediately steal that. We'll give it back to them in the end phase and trigger our Petal. They'll set 1 and pass back, and we will Con again in order to get ourselves Glamour, because this card is absurd. We will, of course, grab the 2 4s, tributing off their Skull Servant for cost. We will grab another copy of Mudan, and then special out Princess. From here, we'll tribute off for another copy of Mudan, trigger that, trigger Formulia, and then proceed to make our ever lovely rank 4. Unfortunately, they are going to have what is everyone's favorite card, Super Poly, but we will get back this copy of Snowdrop. From here, we'll make our rank 9, and they will Super Poly us away, but they left us with Snowdrop, so it doesn't really matter. We'll make another copy of Teardrop, bring back Bengal Lancer, and trigger Teardrop, and allow them to draw a card. We don't really want them to, so we'll Ash it in hopes that they have nothing. They don't, and we will punch them for a whole bunch of damage. From here, they have to top deck the stones, and they'll start, of course, with Evenly Matched. That's pretty good, but we'll just keep our copy of Teardrop, and they will concede because they know that we can get back our copy of the ever lovely Petal in the end phase. So, I thought I'd give my final thoughts on the deck. I really enjoyed this deck. I do want to try to play it in paper. I think its control style is very unique, although probably the best card in the entire deck is most definitely Con and Rivalry. Just abusing both of those is unbelievable. That said, I hope you guys enjoyed. I did enjoy playing this, and I am thinking about making some more content on it. If you really enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.